Jeremy S. Cook here, and I was recently contacted by a TV show called The Daily Planet, which runs on the Discovery Channel in Canada, about showing off my ClearWalker Strandbeest. I was, of course, super excited to do this. They'd found me from the Maker Faire in Orlando and were in Florida for a trip, so I was more than happy to show it off. The thing is, even though you can see it here, there's my little strand mouse walking around, the bigger one, it worked that one time kind of when I was having it walk around the beach, but after that it just had a hard time walking. So before that they even came, I had to do quite a bit of work to get it ready to go. So this is kind of the story of what went on behind the scenes before, you even see this segment that's seen here. Their idea was that they'd come over and I'd be trying to do some sort of improvement. What they wanted to see was, what I came up with was some new feet. Because when I tried it out at the beach, the edges were just so small they tended to sink into the sand and just kind of collapse on it. So I had to cut that out, put some more layers on it, and did that. Now before I did that, the other improvement was I needed to improve the gearing in the middle. One thing that I've been thinking about for a while, is I put a flat on the driving rod, because the shaft collars, when they get it down there with it, the set screws, they tend to gull it. So if you gull it and try to get it out after that, it's just really hard to do. So if I'm going to be adjusting it all the time, really need to have that properly done. So you can see it there, it's fitting. Also, another thing that I did, I doubled up the middle gears. The bigger gears tended to slip off the little gears, so I thought, a bit wider and it would really help out a lot. Actually, I think somebody suggested it at Maker Faire, so if you're listening, thank you. So you can see there it's kind of working, the pin in the middle holds it together. I changed that a little bit later, but we'll just see how that works. So yeah, there I am putting the shaft collars back on, tightening it down on the nice flat that keeps it from getting galled and just not coming out at all. Seems to work pretty well. The other improvement I did with my Dremel tool is I took out some spots that tended to hit on the shaft collars and then on the inside legs. Also revised the head a little bit because it just wasn't fitting in for some reason. So after all that, I started it up and the left leg's working pretty well. Head works, tail works a little bit. There we go, and the right leg's working as well. So everything looked pretty good. It was time to kind of observe it. You can see it, the left and the right. There's another view of the gears, gratuitous gear shot. And from there it was time to put it on the ground. That's obviously the real test of everything. Put it there, and after tightening a few things down, it walked pretty well. At least in my garage. It goes, that's nice. And of course we're at 4 times speed, so the beast is not nearly as fast as that. There I am hooking up the feet. It was just some more layers of polycarbonate put together. This was cut at 1/2 inch or just a little bit smaller, so it was really easy. I just tapped it with a 1/4 or 1/2 13 tap. Also tapped some of the spacers that would go on there. And then screwed in a 1/2 inch button head screw to it to attach it all together. This will give it a whole lot more surface area, so instead of just trying to push down with one piece of the leg, you'd have a lot more area for it to walk on. That was the thought, at least. One thing about this, I had to attach the feet on opposite ends of each other so they wouldn't bump into each other and get jammed up. So as a little test in the garage, it seemed to work pretty well. I thought that'd probably make the legs a little bit more stable too.
And there we go.
So there it is. There's the Discovery Channel. They came over and I'm showing it off again. But the problem was, it wasn't the legs so much as the epoxy that bonded this stuff together that started buckling, and the legs just started jamming up against each other, and the head fell off there too, which would have been okay, I guess.
So, gonna have to take it back to the shop and see what I can do with it.
No task is too daunting for Jeremy.
Apparently no task is too daunting for me. You could see me there taking out the driftwood that I tried to use to patch it up in the field, but I thought that would have made for a nice shot, but that didn't quite work as well as I'd hoped. Made for a little bit of a mess, actually. Good news is, though, it still worked, at least nominally after that. You can see it going forwards and backwards. And then there was just a lot of work putting epoxy in. If you watch the clip, which I'll link, it looks kind of like I just said the magic words went back to my shop for an hour or so and came back. But this took quite a while. And granted, there was quite a bit of procrastination, but it did take a while to just get all the epoxy in there and get it really tight in there. Another thing I did, instead of using those pins, I actually put epoxy in the gears too, which held it together well. Another improvement I made, I took off the legs there and put some more space in between the outer legs and the inner legs. This would keep it from getting jammed up as much if they got off a little bit. These are all improvements that I've been kind of thinking of before, but I guess when there's a possibility of you being on TV, it's definitely a good motivator. Yeah, head needed a little bit of work too. After that, the head is still lying on the ground, but it was working. I also added an e-stop because if things did go wrong, I could just hit this rather than trying to disconnect the wires. It's just a little improvement. Again, that I've been thinking of for quite some time. Plus, it looks pretty cool, I think. So, turns on, turns off. Put that down and turns on once more.
A little bit of careful surgery, and ClearWalker walks like a dream.
I'm really happy with how it turned out. I just love being able to conceive something in your mind. You go to your workshop and a few months later you have something really cool. It's just awesome to be able to say, okay, I made this.
Indeed, it was really cool, but as seen here, it did take some work. In fact, making it walk around on the wet ground, that really didn't work out very well either. I had to kind of like take it up, and in fact, I even got my hands on the gears a little bit. So don't do that. I'm glad it was plastic. But I needed the shot, so what I did, I took it to the dry sand and just made it walk around, which it walked pretty well, at least for a little while. Even though it's a Monday morning, it still attracted attention. Everybody seems to think it's pretty neat when they see it. So pretty cool. If you happen to see me with this, definitely say hi. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment. Jeremy S. Cook, signing off.